East Carolina jumped out to a quick start. Do you think that was partly a result of sort of emotional hangover from the last-second loss in New Orleans?
No, I just don't. I didn't like the way our team reacted to balls. I don't like the way we started the game. I didn't feel like we came out with the aggressiveness we needed to come out with. I thought East Carolina out-hustled us to balls, and we were chasing Jada Payne, the leading scorer, which opens the middle up, and you got to go check people. I thought at times we got caught watching the ball instead of checking people, and they were just more physical than us, and they had that start, and we were playing catch up the whole time, and we ended up beating them by 3 the second half, but we dug ourselves again a hole, and it was frustrating for me because we played so well in New Orleans. We really did. We played a really good game at Tulane, and that hurt. That loss hurt because you led pretty much 38 minutes of the game, but you got to learn how to finish it, and we just this was not the same team that played down in New Orleans.
As you mentioned, you did outscore them by 3 in the second half after falling behind. What adjustments did you make at halftime? What did you say that allowed your team to sort of flip it in the second half?
Well, we talked about spreading it out a little bit more and trying to isolate our posts, work one-on-one, spreading it out, trying to get to the rim, trying to get to the free throw line a little bit, just being more aggressive offensively. And defensively it was tough. We knew we couldn't match up to them the whole game, but when you get behind like that, you have to match up. We tried to play some zone at the beginning just to try and buy some time. We had quite a few players in foul trouble, so trying to buy a little bit of time there. But bottom line is you gotta try and make some things happen. But we just try to spread it out and just be more aggressive.
You mentioned Jada Payne, who came into the game as East Carolina's leading scorer, and she led the game today with 17 points. But you held her to 4 of 12 shooting. What did you think about the way your team defended her?
We put her to the line too many times. I got to look here exactly how many times.
7 of 8.
Yeah, and she's a good free throw shooter. So when she goes in line, she's automatic. But I didn't think we didn't do as good of a job at the beginning during their run. She hit some shots during the run. Then we did a better job, but still, we let her get her average, and she's a great shooter. She's a great scorer. She knows how to get herself open. She moves well without the basketball, and she does a great job coming off flare screens.
East Carolina came into tonight having won 2/3 of its games, was on a 3-game winning streak, and 2 of those games they blew out their opponents. What is so effective? What is it about their defense that's so effective that presents such a challenge for offenses?
Their length. They're not real big inside, but they're really big and lengthy on the perimeter, and it makes it tough for somebody like Mo to pass around or reverse the ball. I think if you look at their 2, 3, 4, and 5, and sometimes 1 through 5, when they put their big lineup in, they're all kind of the same height. Their post players aren't any bigger. They're all 6 foot and above. And very lengthy, and they do a good job there. I mean, when you're that lengthy on the perimeter, it poses some problems, and it makes you start your offense further out. In the first half, we had some situations where we had our post players, but we were so far out starting our offense. By the time we made the pass, your defense closes in, and we didn't do a good job with our timing, with our wings getting open. And bottom line is when teams pressure you, got to have players that can get to the rim. And that doesn't happen enough. We don't get to the rim enough. We gotta do a better job there.
Your team is fighting its way through this run where a lot of times things haven't necessarily gone your way, and then coming off a heartbreaking loss that like you had before tonight's game. Which is harder, fighting your way out of a rut or bouncing back from a close call like the one you had a few days ago?
I don't know. For me, as I told him, I don't like losing. You got to find ways to you can't come out like we did today. And I don't think, and to me as a coach, it shouldn't have anything to do with the last game. Some days have gone by. We're thinking about this team. I think sometimes players get in there, like they look. I look at East Carolina, they're a totally different type team than Tulane. I just felt like our team was I felt like the players were more confident against a team like Tulane, who maybe wasn't as lengthy and, you know, maybe wasn't as quick on the perimeter in that. And I think you know, sometimes it's a confidence issue going into it. It just, to me, I look at the way we started the game and played. We didn't play confident at the beginning. And, you know, in turn, we got ourselves down.
When you have a team that's as young as yours going through these growing pains, does the job of you and your staff become more psychologist rather than X and O strategist?
Well, I know one thing. I got to go see my hairstylist more and get my hair colored more because it sure gets gray with these growing pains. But, you know, you do. It's an educational process. It's, you know, you're always teaching. There's always some discipline in there, and I've probably been harder on the discipline this year than I've ever had, more so to teach a lesson to these young kids and to understand, because, you know, players are different than they were 10 years ago. They're different than they were 5 years ago. And, you know, I think sometimes that, you know, you need to teach them a lesson, put them in their place. I mean, whether you know, there's all kind of lessons you can teach them, but, you know, that's kind of a stance we've taken as a coaching staff, and you know, it may have hurt us a little bit at times, but, you know, I think it's important to teach kids a valuable lesson.
You don't get a lot of time to dwell on this. You've got UCF coming into Moody Coliseum on Sunday. What are your main areas of focus or main areas that you'd like to see improve before they get here?
Well, I'm sure as heck glad that we don't have much time to dwell on this, because I sure, you know, would like to move on to the next game and play the next game. But you know, I'd like to work on, you know, taking the ball and showing them that it does go in the hoop, and you know, I mean, heck, we're 3 for 18 from 3-point range. You know, you can't be giving up threes, and you got to be able to shoot the basketball. That's one thing. Transition defense, it drives me insane. We had a couple situations where, like on a make, we're getting back in transition, and we're getting down the floor, not seeing the ball. I mean, okay, we scored 2 points. Don't admire it. Get down the other end. I mean, our transition defense, we got to, you know, as I told them, I said, you can do it our way or you can do it your way, and what your way is not working right now. So, you know, that, hey, you know, they gotta listen to some of the things we're doing. I think sometimes when you have so many young players, you throw a lot at them. It's tough to absorb everything. We throw a lot of sets at them. You know, when you have an experienced group of players, you can hide freshmen. You can hide the couple of freshmen that maybe may make mistakes. When you have so many freshmen, I mean, a number of times in key situations I looked at, we had 4 freshmen on the floor. And you can't hide all the mistakes that they make, because they're going to make a lot of mistakes. That's part of it. Your upperclassmen know some of the things, you know, the adjustments before you even put them in. And that's part of the growing pains. Those are the growing pains that, you know, a lot of people don't see.